Did you know that most business phone calls made over the internet today are a bit like sending a postcard rather than a sealed letter? When you write a postcard, anyone who handles it along the way can read what's on it. In the world of VoIP, that postcard is your SIP call. The contents, who's calling, who they're calling, and even the conversation itself can be read by anyone on the same network path. This wasn't always the case. Before VoIP, business calls were conducted over traditional phone lines and circuit-switched office systems, technology that was never exposed to this kind of threat. But today, with cloud communications, remote work, and SIP trunking, calls routinely travel over the public internet, and that changes everything. Enterprise customers know this, and increasingly, they're starting to ask one simple question before they sign a contract with a telecom service provider. Does your platform keep calls secure? If the answer is no, or even just we're not sure, the deal is over before it starts. In this episode of Did You Know, we're going to explain exactly what TLS and SRTP are, how they work together to protect a call, and how PortaSwitch makes it straightforward to offer secure calling to your customers and carrier partners, without engaging in a separate engineering project. When a VoIP call is made, two things travel across the network. The first is the signaling, the SIP messages that set up the call. These contain information like who is calling, who they are calling, and how the call should be routed. By default, this travels as plain text. The second is the media, the actual voice audio, carried as RTP packets. Anyone who can intercept those packets can see the call details, and with the right tool, they can listen to the conversation. For example, this could be someone on the same Wi-Fi network or someone running a network sniffer on the same Ethernet segment. So how do you seal that envelope and lock the audio inside it? The first layer is called SIP over TLS, and TLS stands for Transport Layer Security. You already use TLS every day without knowing it. When you see HTTPS in your browser and that padlock icon in the address bar, that's TLS. All data gets encrypted before being sent over that connection so that only the two endpoints can read what's inside. When SIP runs over TLS, the same thing happens to your call's signaling. The phone numbers, routing details, and call parameters are all encrypted in transit. Anyone intercepting the packets would only see scrambled data, nothing useful. That's the envelope, sealed. But TLS only protects the signaling, the envelope. The voice inside it can still be unencrypted. For the actual conversation, we use SRTP, the Secure Real-Time Transport Protocol. SRTP encrypts the voice audio itself, so even if someone captures the RTP packets, all they get is meaningless encrypted data. SRTP uses a set of encryption keys that are unique to each call session. Those keys are exchanged during call setup, so there's no way to decrypt a recording of one call using the keys from another. PortaSwitch supports 3 protocols for exchanging those encryption keys: SDES, DTLS, and ZRTP. The right one for a given call depends on the devices involved. PortaSwitch handles the negotiation. So, TLS seals the envelope, SRTP locks what's inside. Together, they protect the whole call. Let's look at how this works in practice. Imagine a telecom service provider called Owl Telecom. One of their enterprise customers, ABC Company, has set up a cloud call center platform to handle all of their incoming calls. Here's the challenge. ABC Company is security-minded and wants to make sure that calls between their call center platform and PortaSwitch are encrypted. They've asked Owl Telecom to set it up that way. So Owl Telecom needs to make sure that when PortaSwitch delivers a call to ABC Company's platform, it uses a TLS encrypted SIP connection. Here's what happens step by step. Step 1. Owl Telecom's admin uploads TLS certificates to PortaSwitch. Step 2. In the PortaSwitch web interface, the admin configures the delivery of calls to ABC Company's platform and selects TLS as the connection method. That's it. One setting. Step 3. A call arrives for ABC Company's number. PortaSwitch receives it. Step 4. PortaSwitch delivers the call to the cloud call center using a TLS encrypted SIP connection. The SIP signaling, including the caller's number and routing data, is fully encrypted in transit. Step 5. If the call center platform also supports SRTP, the voice audio is encrypted too. PortaSwitch negotiates the encryption keys during call setup. And from that point on, the media stream is encrypted while traveling between the two platforms. The result? ABC Company's IT manager can tell their security team that the entire call path, from the moment the call enters PortaSwitch to the moment it reaches the call center, is protected. The signaling is encrypted, the audio is encrypted, and none of that required a separate security project to implement it. Just one configuration change in PortaSwitch. Now you might be wondering, what if my network has a mix of devices, some that support TLS and SRTP, and some older ones that don't? This is one of the most important aspects of how PortaSwitch handles security. It's configurable per connection. You can enable TLS for the connections that need it, a specific enterprise customer whose call center only accepts TLS, or a carrier partner that requires it, without changing anything for the rest of your network. And for media encryption, PortaSwitch can handle calls between devices with different capabilities. If one device supports SRTP and the other doesn't, PortaSwitch steps in as an intermediary, encrypting the media on the leg that needs it and leaving the other leg unaffected. The call still goes through and nobody has to upgrade their equipment or software to make it work. Think of it like a bilingual interpreter at a meeting. Everyone understands each other, even if they don't speak the same language. For a communication service provider, TLS and SRTP support is no longer a nice-to-have. It is increasingly a requirement from enterprise customers to modern cloud platforms and carrier partners. With PortaSwitch, you can say yes to all of them. You can deliver calls to cloud contact centers and SIP platforms that only accept TLS encrypted connections. You can route traffic to vendor gateways that require TLS, and you can offer your enterprise customers the assurance that their calls are protected, both the signaling and the audio. And when that procurement checklist lands on the table and someone asks, "Does your platform support TLS and SRTP?" you can confidently answer, "Yes, and here's exactly how it works." Thanks for watching this episode of Did You Know? If you found this helpful, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your colleagues, and subscribe to our channel. You can find links to previous episodes in the video description, including our earlier episodes on transcoding and transrating and on number portability. Stay tuned for more helpful videos on communication tools from PortaOne. See you next time.